In these uncertain economic times, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a vehicle with less than 130,000 miles, is less than 12 years old, has a warranty about to expire, or even no warranty at all, you could stop paying for car repairs. Roadside assistance, towing, and rental coverage are all included. Don't wait for the next repair. Make one free call right now to see if you qualify. If your vehicle is less than 12 years old, has less than 130,000 miles, even if it's out of warranty, paying for car repairs can become a thing of the past. Call us right now and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Get protection and no more repair bills. Call 800-696-1030. Again, 800-696-1030. That's 800-696-1030. 800-696-1030.
Joe had huge problems with the IRS.
I knew it was coming. I hadn't filed taxes since 1990.
All the IRS letters coming in added up to a nightmare.
To get up to like $68,000, my heart started beating fast. It's like, there's no way, man. I mean, I ain't going to be able to do this.
Then they stopped his paycheck.
So that's when I started making phone calls and found U.S. Tax Shield.
U.S. Tax Shield went to work immediately.
They just took the bull by the horns. What blew my mind is he called the IRS right then and there.
So why is U.S. Tax Shield A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau? Joe knows.
They saved me a ridiculous amount of money.
If you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS or state, choose the company Joe chose, U.S. Tax Shield.
It was the best decision I made. U.S. Tax Shield is the way to go. Life is good. Thank you, Lord.
Call 800-471-3287.
U.S. Tax Shield. Boo-rah. Yes.
800-471-3287. 800-471-3287.
The Internet will never be the same. You're listening to K98Talk.com.
Whoa! Good God, y'all. What is it good for? Absolutely. Now get set again.
Before we get this podcast started, we want to let you in on a little something. If you shop on Amazon like, I don't know, everybody, instead of going straight to Amazon.com to do your shopping, do your friends at Polititainment a favor. You see, Polititainment.net is an Amazon partner. So here's what that means if you want to shop on Amazon. Instead of going to Amazon.com directly, go to Polititainment.net. You'll see an Amazon banner at the top of the page. You click on that banner, and it takes you to Amazon. You buy stuff like always, but a portion of everything you buy goes to Polititainment. Shop on Amazon and help us grow at the same time. Again, just go to Polititainment.net and click on the Amazon banner at the top of the page. Now, enjoy the show. On this week's According to Me, apologizing to the manufacturer of your mattress because you removed the tag off of it is more justifiable and makes more sense than Martin O'Malley's apology he had to give this week. We'll discuss that. Plus, speaking of apologies, the mainstream media and John McCain want one. Yep. Trumpy the Clown's back at it again. Plus, we discuss bad things like kale, women's soccer. But first, I get a little Casey Kasem on ya, and we count down the GOP candidates from 16 all the way to number 1. That's now on According to Me.
We the people of the United States know how to form a more perfect place, but not according to me. We hold these truths to be all men, they are created equally, but not according to me. I'm just a common sense average American dude. I'm a father of 4, I'm a husband to my wife, and that's according to me. According to me, according to me.
From the Kensington Place Studios, this is According to Me, Barack Obama and John Boehner's second most hated internet radio program. The 2-hour show that lasts 60 minutes. It's also the show that nobody listens to but you. But the views and opinions expressed on this show come from the mind of a common-sense, average American, conservative, libertarian, classic liberal guy with 4 beautiful kids and a wife to match. We got a stack of stuff this week, as we always do here on According to Me. So glad that you guys are here. So without any further ado, let's just jump right into things. But first, make sure you know of how to listen to the show, how to listen to me, how to interact with me before, during, and after the show. So let's get into propers really quick. Hammer!
We're about to break them off something proper.
When it comes to the Twitter...
I am on Twitter. In fact, I could Twitter right now.
I won't Twitter now, but I may during the commercial breaks. I may before the show. I may after the show. I always do during the week, just to let you know what's going on and interact with you and the rest of the According to Me militia members on there. And if you haven't done that yet, you should do that by following me at ATM_show. That is at ATM_SHOW, where you're going to get a slice of common sense conservatism, classic liberalism, and ADHD in 140 characters or less on the Twitters. Just do that. Real simple. And tell other people that I'm on the Twitters as well, if you're on the Twitters, and then I can be on the Twitters, and then we can all be Twitter's friends and tweets and all that happy jazz with you kids and your Red's Apple Ale and your vape machines. Anyway, while you're on the social media, you can write on my wall, too, on Facebook, if Facebook's your thing. I mean, Ethel does, right?
Ethel Stepler just wrote on my wall.
Oh, yeah? What'd she say?
She says, "Get your wrinkly ass down to bingo this Thursday, biatch."
You can write that. You can write many other things on my wall, but the only way you can do that is to like the According to Me show on Facebook. Just go to facebook.com/According to Me show, click like, and when you do that, you're going to get all the things we talk about on the show, all the updates, new show times, other places the show will be broadcasting, all types of great things you're going to find out, plus articles we share throughout the week and stuff you can share with me. You should do that. Like me on Facebook. And just because you're on Facebook and we're buddies and we're friends now, if you request me to play Farmville, here's how it works.
I'd unfriend you.
That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works.
That's not how it works with me. That's how it does work if I get Farmville requests. Just throwing that out there. And when it comes to other social media such as Instagram or Snapchat, Jason, are you on those things? No. And why?
Because I'm too old to waste my time.
That's absolutely true. And if this happens to be you,
I hate social media,
then just shoot me an email. Jason@polititainment.net. Real simple. Exciting things on the horizon that are happening this week. What up to my friends at Alcon Radio? This will be the debut or the re-debut or the relaunch, or I don't know what the heck you want to call that. But coming back to my friends at Alcon Radio, Hammy and all the great people over there. So this will be the first week you hear me on Alcon, and many other things to come on the horizon for According to Me. So stay tuned. And thank you for all of those who've been with me since day one, because you're helping make this show grow more and more and more. I couldn't do it without you. We couldn't do it without you. And I can only tell you, the only request I ever have is if you dig the show, you like the show, you listen to the show. A lot of times, all of you are here every single week. Whether it's the podcast or whether it's the actual live broadcast. If that happens to be you, share it with friends. Get other people to pay attention, other people to listen to the show, get them to laugh, get them to be informed, entertained, and possibly offended like you are every single week. You should do that. Glad that you guys are here listening to the program, whether you're hearing this live, whether you're hearing the rebroadcast. Maybe, you're listening to the podcast, whatever the case may be. Glad that you are listening to the show. And I know there's many things that you could be doing other than listening to the show. You, for instance, could be still celebrating days later even after John Kasich's announcement that he is now the 16th candidate amongst the Republican candidates in 2016. Thank God. John Kasich's now in this. Now the real debate can begin. Now the quest for a real candidate can happen. And I know that Americans around the country, 2 of you, have said, hey, when is John Kasich going to get in this thing so we can really get serious about 2016? Well, you're in luck. He's here and he's ready to go. And I figure now that we're at Sweet 16, Doesn't that just sound nice? Sweet 16. 16 wonderful candidates for the GOP in 2016. I figured it was important to, let's stack rank those. Here at According to Me, we're going to do that. We're going to stack rank those, give you an idea as to kind of what I think about the 16 candidates, and I'm curious what you think about them, where you would put them in your list of 16 all the way down to number 1. This is According to Me's Top 16. I'm Jason Kasem. So we're going to count down the candidates from 16 to number 1 and give you my thoughts and opinions on all of them, because now it's become just insane. If you really think about it, we have 6 candidates at most who should really be in this, because that's the most you're ever going to see in a debate. And it's really sad because you do have at least 6 pretty good candidates that I'd like to hear at least more from, if not even more. But half of them, at least, if not 75% of them, really suck. But I still want to hear more from some of them, even if they suck. Others, I don't even want them on the stage. I don't even want them anywhere around Donald Trump. We're going to get into that, so I'm going to share that with you. Coming in, let's start the countdown, everybody. Now, starting the countdown at number 16. George Pataki. 3 words for you. Moderate, New York. That's it. That's really all you need to know about George Pataki. The guy hasn't been in political office for 10 years. He was bad 10 years ago. Now he's old and bad now. No, thank you. Speaking of old and bad, number 15, Lindsey Graham. Patterns his political style after his mentor, John McCain. And he's just like McCain. If you think about it, he wants to bomb every country that ends in Stan. He wants to attack the Tea Party and actual conservatives whenever he gets a chance. And he plays kissy face with the left at MSNBC. Just like John McCain. Only somehow he's figured this out. And I don't know how this is possible. If you can bottle this, you'd make a lot of money. Somehow he's figured out a way to suck more than John McCain does. And that's Lindsey Graham. So Lindsey, number 15, buddy. Sorry you couldn't crack the top 10 or... Well, 15. I guess you made 15. You're still bad. Number 14, our good buddy. We just talked about him. John Kasich. And I know what America was saying. We need a candidate who... I really wish we could find somebody on the Republican side who supports Common Core, really believes we need to address the concerns about climate change, and supports amnesty for illegals. If we could only get a candidate who would do those things, then I would really be interested in what he had to say, or have no interest in what he had to say. And, we're going to make sure that on this show, and my next one's actually going to be on Bernie Sanders, because we really need to vet the hell out of this guy. We're going to do that here on this program. But for those who are actual serious candidates, between now and 2016, I've already done this with Rand Paul, we'll do this for the candidates. We're going to vet the actual ones you need to know a lot about. I'm not going to vet John Kasich, because I can vet him for you in 2 sentences. He supports Common Core, wants to address climate change because it's a serious issue, and believes in amnesty. Need I say more? Done. See ya. Bye. Thanks for playing, John. I'll send you the at-home game. It's a kick in the ass. Have a good one. Number 13, old Jebby Jeb, Mr. Jeb Bush. Do we need another Bush in the White House, really? If you look at his dad and his brother, Jeb is the most progressive of them all, and that's saying something. Loves him some Common Core, just like his good buddy Lindsey. And on top of that, he's clearly the choice of the machine. So, not the right choice for any actual conservative, and I happen to be one of those guys. So, no thanks, Jeb. But pay attention to Jeb Bush whether you want to or not. The guy has raised a ton of money thanks to the machine. And money kind of goes a long way in elections. Ask Barack Obama. Number 12. The guy I said I'd get a sex change. I would go complete Caitlyn Jenner in the fact that this guy won the presidential nomination, and that would be Mike Huckabee. And by the way, speaking of progressives who love Common Core, you remember his famous quote, rebrand it, refocus it, but don't retreat in regards to Common Core. Totally behind it. Believes we need to have nationwide standards set to you by the Department of Education, set by the United States government. And really, everyone who's behind it's nothing more than the Apollo Alliance, and nothing that's more than that other than the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, who just wants to make sure that test after test after test after test after test after test is a way to really be able to determine how your child is doing. Oh, and you have to keep paying for the tests. And now, as long as you can pass the test, that's all that really matters. You may not know anything, but you'll pass the test. The architect, the guy who loves that, besides Jeb Bush, is Mike Huckabee. Again, full Caitlyn Jenner if this guy wins. This guy has no shot, no chance in hell. It's crazy. I actually have this thing against voting for people who've changed their opinions on the issues 5 times in the last 20 years. Democrat clown for a good reason. He's given money to Democrats. He says really stupid things, which the media obsesses. Yeah, he's to the left of Jeb Bush and George Pataki on this. He's right up there with John Kasich. He believes and supports amnesty, free health care for the poor, and very large one-time super tax on the rich to get this country going back on the right track. Super conservative, huh? Yeah, totally. Trumpy the Clown, there'll be more information on him later on in the broadcast, and I will rail on this dude every single week until he's out, and he's something that no one's talking about ever again, because even candidates now, who are good candidates amongst the GOP, are the candidates who get ignored. And why? The only time that anyone asks anything about the candidates is, hey, Ted Cruz, what did you think of Donald Trump and what he said about John McCain? Hey, Rick Perry, what do you think about what Donald Trump said about John McCain? And then Rick Perry has to say this, and then the news, Rick Perry says this about Donald Trump. That's all the news is. No one's talking about what any of the issues are among some incredibly good candidates. And instead, we're talking about, let's find out the reactions to Trumpy the Clown. Yeah, but Jason, you got to understand, he's fearless, man. Donald Trump just says what he wants, and he doesn't apologize for anything. Yeah, he may be a little rough around the edges, but you know what? I like somebody who isn't a politician, or someone who's fearless, who doesn't care, speaks what's on his mind, and says what he believes. Great, congratulations. Finally, we have somebody who's saying what people who aren't thinking are thinking. Awesome. Way to go, Trump heads. He's your spokesperson. Duh! If that's what you think, because that's who he is. Congratulations. And that's why he ranks in at number 11 on my list, and he's damn lucky he's that high. It just so happens you have people who suck worse than Donald Trump, which is why he's 11. And this is what I don't get, because when you look at number 10, you look at Chris Christie, and you look at a guy who is, big believer in climate change, runs a state that still is like second worst in the nation in out-of-control spending, played kissy face with Barack Obama along the Jersey Shore. We saw all of those things. But everything that people love about Donald Trump is he's outspoken, he's rough around the edges, he's fearless. So's Chris Christie. The one thing I like about Chris Christie is he doesn't speak like a politician. He acts like one, which is why he's still a scumbag, but at least he doesn't speak like one. At least he does take on the teachers' unions and take on people and say, look, this is what we're going to do in the state because I'm in charge. At least he has that. The same qualities you like about Donald Trump, yet no one's talking about Chris Christie, and I can't believe I'm going to say this. I would rather have Chris Christie than Donald Trump, because Donald Trump has a way more progressive left stance on the issues than Chris Christie does. Yes, look it up, folks. Chris Christie's bad. He's not worse than Trump. He's just not. But he's still number 10 on my list. Now we go to number 9. We are now inside the top 10. Number 9, Ben Carson. Now look, Dr. Ben Carson seems like a decent guy. Don't get me wrong. And I know a lot of people love the idea of a non-politician being the candidate. Look, there's another non-politician later on in the countdown, if you will, way better than Ben Carson. This guy's a gun control guy, and he's just simply not ready for prime time. Sorry, he's bad. He's just not any good. I know people love the fact that he's outspoken against Obama, and he happens to be African-American. Who cares? He's not ready for prime time, and he's bad. I'm just telling you. He's not the guy. He's number 9. Number 8, Rick Santorum. 2012, Rick Santorum looks pretty good. When you got Mitt Romney and, Rick Perry, and that's about it. You know, Rick Santorum looked pretty good at the time. Yeah, now not so much. You know, just kind of over you, Rick. Sorry, buddy. Not doing much for me this time around. So you're at number 8. Number 7. Hey, you want a non-politician? You know, Donald Trump, he's a non-politician. Ben Carson, he's not a politician. Here's one that actually is good, who's not a politician, fearless, and is well-spoken and actually is very good on the issues. That happens to be Carla Fiorina, who's number 7. I'm becoming more and more of a fan of hers. Her takedown against Hillary Clinton and her stance on abortion was epic. If you haven't got a chance to check that out, man, oh man, the way she responded to the media was like, well, what do you think about Planned Parenthood and why is it so crazy and what are your stances? And, she just flipped it right around and be like, the people who are coming out and defending Planned Parenthood, let's ask Hillary Clinton her stances on abortion because I think it's important to know. Did you know that Hillary stands for this, Hillary stands for that, and most of the American people don't? Why is no one talking about this? She did a tremendous job. Check that out if you haven't. Plus, she's really good on foreign policy as well. This is also a self-made woman who has a lot of money and has ran very successful businesses. Sounds like Donald Trump, only not a moron. Carly, number 7, and rising up the charts. Again, this isn't the end of the list. This is just where I stand right now. As of right now, Carly, you're a solid number 7. I'd love to see you in the debates. I think you do very well, and I think more people need to hear from you. Number 6, Rick Perry. And I know I just said, well, Rick Perry was part of 2012 and you like Rick Santorum. Yeah, but a couple of things that have kind of grown on me in Rick Perry. Rick Perry does not mess around when it comes to the border, even though there's so much he can do based on the border because the federal government's kind of in charge of that one. But what I also really like about Rick Perry is the fact, and say what you want, folks, he ran the best state and the best well-run state in the country that is a job machine. Period. You can't deny the results of Texas under his watch. Outstanding growth and just an incredibly prosperous state. Rick Perry ran the show, so say what you want. He's got to be doing something right. Not as polished as maybe you'd like, but having Rick Perry as my president would not break my heart by any means. Number 5, Marco Rubio. Now, besides the Gang of 8 bill, that I know a lot of people didn't like. He was in favor of course, till he realized it sucked, and he went against it, and, went against the John McCains, and all the people were like, hey, look at Marco Rubio likes this plan, and he's a young Tea Party Cuban-American guy. Until Marco realized, hey, holy crap, this bill's really bad. I'm out. But people still consider him as part of the Gang of 8, which is fair in a way, but follow the rest of the story because he kind of backed out on that one. I'll also say that, the water incident looked pretty stupid. But other than that, Marco Rubio's been pretty damn good and pretty consistent. He really, really has. He's a young and exciting candidate. The only thing I don't like is this tax plan that he wrote with Mike Lee, which I wrote a tax plan with Mike Lee. Normally gets my attention to go, oh, this should be good because Mike Lee's great. This plan sucks, and that's the one thing I don't think that I like at all about Marco Rubio, and he's going to have a really hard time selling that to the American people, or at least conservatives who he wants to have jump on board, because that's my one pause on Marco Rubio. Other than that, I think he's got a hell of a shot and would love to see him in the debates. It looks like he'll be in there. Number 4 is Bobby Jindal. Now, I have a conservative man crush on this guy. He's my favorite governor in the United States. Yes, even over Rick Perry and over somebody else who's later on in the countdown. And I realize he doesn't have a chance to win, but I'm not ranking people based on who I think will win, but based on who I think is the best. And Bobby Jindal is one of the best. And it's a shame that no one's paying attention. But, what again did Ted Cruz say about Donald Trump? Because, that's important. That's what the people want to know, right? Now we get to our top 3. The top 3 of the countdown. Coming in at number 3, speaking of governors of states, yes, not my favorite governor because it's Bobby Jindal, who is number 4, but number 3 is Scott Walker. And Scott Walker is someone who's really grown on me. There was so much love for this guy way before he ever said he was going to even be a presidential candidate, but people kind of assumed he was going to be. And I was really concerned on his stance on immigration and Common Core. But I think he's changing on those issues, and his explanation of why he changed on those issues really passed the sniff test, at least for me. Plus, his continued middle finger to the unions always makes me smile and should make any conservative smile who's interested in voting for him. But one of the things that really impressed me about Scott Walker is when he entered the race a couple of weeks ago, people asked him, hey, look, Scott, so you're candidate number 14 or whatever he was at the time. There's some candidates out there, a lot of candidates you even yourself say you like. So why are you running? Why are you doing this? And his answer is one of the best of any candidate I've heard, which is, look, there's some people that I consider good friends that are running in this election alongside me on the Republican side. And they're good people with good ideas and great speakers, and they're outspoken and articulate and can do the job. But none of them have the track record I do of winning. Going into the lion's den and defying all odds and in a blue state kicking ass year after year after year. When people want me out, I stay in because I connect with the people who understand the good I'm doing for my blue state of Wisconsin. And that to me was like, whoa, sold totally. Did a great job there. Still more to know about Scott, but he's got a hell of a shot, and I think he's really good. So Scott Walker's number 3. These two are tough for me. But number 2 for me is going to be Rand Paul. And unlike most people, I love his foreign policy. It's very hands-off approaches, which is what we should be. I'm tired of being the world police. His tax plan is one of the best things I've ever heard in my adult life. Like I said before, 14.5% across the board. That includes corporations, no more FICA tax. You have thousands of dollars that this will save every American who makes over $50,000 a year is stunning. And anybody who makes less than $50,000 a year doesn't pay taxes in the first place. You can do your taxes on a Post-it note. What he's done with social media, a lot of the things he's done incredibly well. And he has some pretty diehard support. And I got to tell you, Rand Paul, I can't wait to see him in a debate because he can do really, really well, and definitely one of the better candidates and my number 2. But the reason why Ted Cruz is my number 1 here is for a couple of different reasons. Just like Donald Trump, he's fearless. Only he can articulate as to why what he believes is what's best for America. On top of that, this is a guy who has awards named for him for the debate team in Harvard. I mean, this guy is as smart as you're going to get in regards to being able to paint a picture of what he believes, why he believes it, recite reasons as to why what you're saying makes no sense, and really pick you apart piece by piece in a debate and articulate the conservative message that connects with people. And he's absolutely fearless. He doesn't care. He takes on his own party, which he's done many times. He takes on the left. He takes on the mainstream media. And he truly is a conservative, outspoken candidate who really can get the job done and would really put our country on the right track as the president. So for right now, Ted Cruz is number 1 in my book. What say you? How do you rank the top, or I should say 16 people that are on the list? Or more importantly, maybe just your top 5. Who are they? But more importantly, why? Who are your bottom 5 and why? It's not good enough to go, well, because he says this. Why do you like Donald Trump? Oh, because he's outspoken. So is Ted Cruz. So's Carly Fiorina. Why do you like Donald Trump? Well, he's not a politician. Neither's Ben Carson. Neither's Carly Fiorina. Why do you like Donald Trump? Because he's against illegal immigration. Okay, so's Ted Cruz. So's Rand Paul. Next, so's Marco Rubio at this point. So's Bobby Jindal. Next, know where they stand. Know where they are on the issues. Know where you stand and where you're on the issues. Make your own list, because I'm telling you, folks, you need to know already, with a group of 16, who we can weed through really quickly. And that's why I want to do that this week and be able to kind of paint a picture as to who we should take seriously and who should just get the hell out of Dodge. And there's many who should get the hell out of Dodge, but there's some really good candidates that really need some attention. And let's talk issues and not Trumpy the Clown. All right, coming up next, Martin O'Malley's ridiculous, unnecessary apology. Yes, I'm going to defend Martin O'Malley. Oh, my goodness. That's next here on According to Me.
According to Me.
Are you conservative in a world of liberal?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're not alone. Hey, I'm Daniel Stafford, host of the Stafford Voice, and I'd like to invite you to tune in each Monday, 10 p.m. Eastern, where I'll break down the events of the week, and together we'll learn about how they affect you. So, sit back and get ready for the good, the bad, and the ugly of talk radio right here on K98 Talk.
Welcome back. I'm Mohammed Seacrest, and you're listening to Afghanistan's Top 40, where we play your favorite songs as long as they're compliant with Sharia law. I think you're going to like this next one. This is from Big Al Qaeda. That's right. And he's got another hit for you. This is Been Caught Stealing, coming in this week at number 6, or 6 feet under. Enjoy.
Afghanistan's Top 40.
Number 6.
I've been caught stealing once when I was 5. I was stoned to death. Look, it's a song. It's just a... Man, that song rocked. But seriously, join us next week when we continue to count down your favorite hits, as long as, of course, they're compliant with Sharia law, on Afghanistan's Top 40. Mohammed Seacrest, out.
Red Nation Rising brings you Town Hall Radio.
From a single tweet to 3 million a month, our community is a force to be reckoned with on social media.
So don't miss our show, Thursdays, 8 p.m. Eastern on K98 Talk.
Our chat room is our co-host, and you ask the question.
Join us and be heard.
So get ready to sound off on Red Nation Rising Radio. No one else is going to do it for you.
There's a wild, wild whisper blowing in the wind, calling out my name like a long lost friend.
He's the honey badger of internet radio.
Oh, the honey badgers are just crazy.
According to me.
Ew, what's that in its mouth? Mouth.
This is According to Me with Jason DeWilkins.
Welcome back to the show, folks. So if you're just tuning in, you didn't get a chance to hear the entire 16 for 2016, where we look at the 16 candidates so far, and I hope that's it. My God, we can't have any more for 2016 who are going to be running for president. I ranked those from 16 all the way to number 1. And if you go to Politainment.net here in the next couple of days, hopefully, depending on whenever you hear this, it'll already be up. But I will post an article showing what my list is to you. You can read it, see what you think, create your own list. It's not too early to start thinking about this stuff, folks. Because just like what I did, I took the Sweet 16 and pared it down to the Fantastic Four, because that's who I got. I got 4 people that I could vote for and not have any reservations about actually placing my vote for them. The rest, don't think so. But, what say you? Share that with me on Facebook, on Twitter, however you want to do that, or just simply reply on Politainment.net. And if you didn't get a chance to hear all of my explanation on the list, or you get pulled away during the show or whatever, you can't listen to the whole thing, make sure you follow, or I should say subscribe to us on SoundCloud or on Stitcher, If you're on Stitcher, just simply type in According to Me. You're going to get all my stuff. If you're on SoundCloud, type in Politainment. You know, a little website that could, politainment.net. The Politainment brand, the group, if you will, because you're not only going to get my stuff, but you're going to get the Stafford Voice with Daniel Stafford. You're going to get his podcast. You're also going to get Real Serious Nonsense's podcast with Angie and Paul. You're going to get all of that as well. So make sure that you subscribe to those things. And yeah, I happen to have a certain co-host that will be joining me here at the end of August. Pull it up, buddy. And if you're not subscribed yet, you really want to make sure you do that so you don't miss any of those shows because, well, she has chainsaws and we'll come after you, and we're not afraid to do that because we can. Speaking of coming after you, oh man, the mainstream media and really the black community just won't let Martin O'Malley get away with this one, will they? Because, see, Martin O'Malley was at a Netroots meeting. And, you know, Netroots, of course, they're so concerned about the well-being of America, except they're not. They're really only concerned with their specific issues that usually always have to do with race. And these are the kind of events where people in the hood want to know what you gonna do to make things better for us. Because we need the government to do these kind of things. So what are you going to do to make things better for me so I can vote for you? Because it's all about what the government can do for me, yo. So long audio clip, but you need to hear this, seriously, and try not to vomit.
But let me be clear.
Let me be clear.
Every single day, folks are dying.
Yes, woo! People are dying, yeah!
Not being able to take another breath. We are in a state of emergency.
Your voice is in a state of emergency.
We are in a state of emergency.
If I was in the crowd, I'd be like, ma'am, here's a lozenge.
If you don't feel that emergency, you are not human.
Oh, my. Yes! We're in an emergency, yeah! Yeah! Way to interrupt a town hall meeting, yeah! Woo!
You want to get your question? Yes. Go ahead, Patrice. We have 4 questions.
Go ahead, girl. Preach it.
The question we have, and I'll just mix all my 4 questions in one if that's what you want to do.
Oh, thank you.
It really boils down to the fight for black and brown lives.
Yes.
It really boils to
Yes.
It really boils down to not what you have done, but what you will do.
Yes.
What will you do to stop police unions battering our names after their law enforcement kills us?
Yes.
Woo! I want to hear concrete actions. I want to hear an action plan.
Action plan.
That's what we want to hear, and we want to hear it from Bernie Sanders too.
Someone get that woman a Hall's eucalyptus stat. Oh my God, I could... Yeah, you gotta, what are you gonna do for us? Poor Martin O'Malley. Like I said, I'm going to defend Martin O'Malley. So he tries, he says this, which is actually sensible, but it's not sensible when the crowd and the people that you're talking to want to know what you gonna do for them, yo. It's not about things they can do themselves. No. What they need to hear is the action plan of a 40-year-old white guy Democrat. Yeah, because Democrats have done such an amazing job over the last, say, 100 years of most major cities around the United States, and the inner cities in the hood are filled with Democrat supporters and community organizers and governors like Martin O'Malley who he's going to save the day, right? Because they've done such a good job of that before. Forget this whole personal accountability thing. What you gonna do to fix it, yo? Martin tries by saying this, and listen to the crowd reaction because it now lets you know who you're dealing with.
I think that all of us as Americans have a responsibility to recognize the pain and the grief throughout our country from all of the lives that have been lost to violence, whether that's violence at the hands of police, or whether that's violence in the hands of civilians. For many years, we have required.
Hold on one second. Hold on one second.
Yeah, I read. This is. Let me. Sure. Well.
No. We don't want to hear about gang violence. We don't want to hear about black-on-black crime and what we're doing to each other. We want to hear about the police. We want to hear about what the police are doing and what you going to do to fix it. All hell broke loose when he just mentioned, hey, not only do police kill people, but even people kill people. We should be outraged that people are dying over nothing in the inner cities of our country, whether it's the police or anybody doing it. It sucks. What can we do to fix that? That's not good enough. No. See, it's not good enough. What y'all gonna do about police killing black people? What you gonna do about it? I mean, you'd think with all this pressure, Martin O'Malley would go, okay, I got it. I'm going to say the perfect thing that's really going to make sure I win these people over. So he says this.
Every life matters, and that is why this issue is so important. Black lives matter, white lives matter, all lives matter.
No! Boo! What do you mean all lives matter? White lives matter. This is about black folks. What you going to do for the black folks, yo? Come on now. What are you going to do? Let me help you, Martin. Here's what I would say, but I'm not a politician, so I can say whatever the hell I feel like saying. And this is why I could never be a politician, because I would actually have to tell you the truth. And see, people don't seem to like that or seem to at least want to vote for somebody who's actually going to give it to them. But I would say, you know what, ma'am? You're right. You have a right to be outraged. You have a right to be pissed off. Everyone in this room has a right to be pissed off. You know what? I'm pissed off too. You know what bothers me is that for the last almost century in some inner cities here in the United States, the Democratic Party, the people that you have voted for year after year after year after year, keep coming back to you saying, give me your vote and I will make things better for you. I'm going to make things better in your neighborhood. I am going to make sure that I get what's coming and what's owed to you. President Obama ran on a platform of making sure that he spreads the wealth around. Let me ask you something. How well has that worked for you, man? Because you still seem like you're pretty pissed off. Did that politician who ran not once but twice and get elected in the White House, what has he done for you, ma'am? Nothing. You know what I'm going to probably do for you, ma'am? Nothing, because that's not my job. My job is not to lower the crime in the inner city. You want to lower crime in the inner city? Here, let me give you a little twist on something John F. Kennedy once said, which is, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your damn self. And that's by looking in the mirror. Look in your community. How many people around you have 5 baby daddies? How many 5 baby daddies have 5 baby mamas? How many kids are being raised by grandparents? If that. How many kids are stealing and cursing and swearing and drinking when they're 6, 7, 8 years old, having sex when they're 10? Who's causing that? A politician? No. The police causing that? No. You know who's causing that? You. Why don't we build the black family in America once again? Let's start that. Let me ask you something, ma'am. I understand that I'm running for president, and you think that I should be able to answer that question. I'm lying to you if I tell you that I can do things that are going to fix things in the inner city because I'm a part of the government. And what my party has done and what politicians do is they stifle your growth. They have made it so you've become wardens of the state. They've made it so that you come to people like me and need assistance. And I get your votes because you think if I take the honeypot away, you're not going to make it on your own. Let me tell you something. You can make it on your own. And many people around you have made it on their own. And the way they've done it is because they've taken personal responsibility of their actions and have done what's right for them, for their families, and have made a better life for themselves instead of living in poverty and living in languish and thinking that it's up to me and guys like me or girls like me or politicians like me to fix the ills of the world. That is not my job, and nor should I ever look you in the eye and tell you that I'm going to ask you to vote for me. But I'll tell you what, I'd like you to actually ask this same question to Al Sharpton. I'd like you to ask the same question to Jesse Jackson, ma'am, who needs a Hall's eucalyptus because she sounds like she's chewing gravel. Have you asked those people that? Have you asked the black leaders? Have you asked Father Flagler in Chicago those questions? Because where are they in that one? They don't mind coming to the hood when it comes time to pick up a check. But what are they doing about this? Nothing, but expecting corporations and politicians to kiss their ass so they can make themselves a bigger bankroll. And what do you get in the end, ma'am? What do you get in the end? A dead son? A dead grandson? A dead relative who got killed as an 8-year-old in a park when he was on the monkey bars while gang violence was shooting bullets back and forth to each other over bullshit? Oh, you don't want to hear that, do you, ma'am? You just want me to tell you that Black Lives Matter and everything's going to be okay because we're going to make sure the police don't do bad things to you. There's a surefire way to make the police not do anything bad to you, and that is obey the law. And in any event you get stopped by a police officer, you show some level of respect and understand that this guy happens to be in the hood and is getting his life threatened about every hour or so on the job on a daily basis. Let's see how sensible you may be. And there are scumbag cops. And let me tell you something, ma'am. Those cops should be accountable. Those cops should be thrown in jail just like any other criminal. And there are many of them that do that, which is why I propose we have body cameras so that we can see not only what the police are doing, but seeing what the quote-unquote innocent victims were doing all along, because that's going to put things into perspective. That's something that many people don't agree with, but I agree with, because you know what, ma'am? I want transparency. Because you should be outraged, and rightfully so, if we made all blacks seem like they were criminals and police officers looked at all blacks as one and the same, and that's not fair because you shouldn't put us all in the same category. Well, that's also not fair for you to do the same thing to cops now, is it? Because while you have some terrible scumbag cops who abuse their power, you also have some amazing cops who have probably helped save lives in your neighborhood or have helped family members or have helped you in the last year that you conveniently forget about when it comes time to be outraged about some poor black person dying in your neighborhood. And again, no one relishes in that factor and that thought, but if you really want to talk statistics, let's go there. According to New York State University, a John Jay College of Criminal Justice poll, actually, some investigations was done there. From May 2013 to April of 2015, roughly 49% of those that were killed by police officers were white, while only 30% were black. Now, I know what you're saying, Jason. Well, yeah, but blacks only make up 12% of the population. Whites make up, way more than that. So those numbers don't make a lot of sense. Well, go to killedbypolice.com and you can actually get the data. There's a real website. But those numbers, the 49 and 30%, kind of jive with what the FBI showed between 1980 and 2012, which are very similar numbers. In fact, even between 1999 and 2011, you'll see that PolitiFact even said that more whites were killed than blacks were killed by police during that time. Now, again, you have to factor some things out because, again, you have a higher amount of whites in America versus blacks. But even when you factor that out, whites are 1.3 times more likely to die by the hands of police than blacks here in America. The only problem is no one talks about that on the news. No one gives a crap that some dumbass white guy was tased and possibly shot to death on the highway from running out of a car because he didn't want to get his car checked because he knew his Miranda rights and was being a douchebag. So you don't see me defending white people who do dumb stuff in front of a cop. But you'll defend somebody even if they're in the wrong because in your mind, the imaginary Klansman still lives under your bed and only Black Lives Matter. Well, because this all happened, Martin O'Malley had to apologize and listen to this.
In fact, I believe what I first said was that Black Lives Matter before those other two phrases. And when I said those other two phrases, I meant no disrespect to the point, which I understand, and that Black Lives Matter is making. For many years ago, when I ran for mayor of Baltimore, majority African American city, when we had allowed ourselves to become the most violent, part of what I called us to as a people was to the justice of realizing that, yes, Black Lives Matter, and when we allow ourselves to assume that every year as a city, we just have to accept that 300 young black men will die violent deaths. That we have to do a checkup from the neck up and realize as a people that if 300 young, poor white men were dying, we would have a different reaction to this as a state and as a metro area and as a city. So I meant that was a mistake on my part, and I meant no disrespect, and I did not mean to be insensitive in any way or to communicate that I did not understand the tremendous passion, commitment, and feeling and depth of feeling that all of us should be attaching to this issue.
Talk about a slimy politician response and apology. Well, I mean, of course, Black Lives Matter, and and notice I said Black lives before any lives or white lives because they're way more important. And I understand that it's just Black lives that matter. And I know blacks only care about Black lives, but as a white guy, I'm supposed to care about all lives. Blacks aren't allowed to care about all lives, just blacks, because you got really mad when I said anybody else. So I'm going to apologize for that. And this is the reason and the only reason why I see the fascination with Donald Trump, because Donald Trump wouldn't pander like that, wouldn't kiss ass like that, wouldn't apologize for something like that for no reason whatsoever. Just disheartening. And it goes to show it's not about Black Lives Mattering. It's about what are you going to do for us? Still haven't learned, folks. The government is not the solution to the problem. The government is and always has been the problem. All right, coming up next, we're going rapid fire the last 10 minutes of the show. Getting through some topics we've been dying to talk to you about, plus the asset of the week. That's coming up next. Stay tuned here on According to Me.
According to Me.
Wondering why you're up early with us on a Sunday morning making a cocktail? News lately got you drinking? Hungover from the mainstream media by Sunday? We are, and we got you covered.
We sure do. We got your hangover cure for those weekly news blues. So sit back, top off your mimosa, and add some Baileys to that coffee.
Take a match to your copy of the New York Times. Light, funny, and oh yeah, news with booze.
And a lot of laughter.
Welcome to Bloody Marys and Broadsheets.
We count them down from 40 all the way to number 1. That is unless Allah says otherwise. I'm Mohammed Seacrest, playing all of your favorite songs, as long as they're compliant with Sharia law, of course. And you're listening to Afghanistan's Top 40. Coming in at number 9 this week is a great track from the Stoned Temple Pilots. And this is Arabian Girl, right here on AFG Top 40.
Afghanistan's Top 40.
Number 9.
She was an Arabian girl, raised up Muslim. She wanted to study the Quran, but first I showed her how to read. I think this will be the last time those infidels join us on the countdown. Don't you know you can't teach a woman to read? It's a shame, too, because they rocked. Join us next time when we're counting down your Sharia-compliant favorite songs on Afghanistan's Top 40. Mohammed Seacrest, out.
powers combined, I am Captain Planet.
If I only would have known that his show was going to be on there, I would have never invented the internet. According to me.
According to me.
Welcome back to the show, folks. We got a couple more stories we got to get through, and we don't got a lot of time to do it, so let's do it rapid fire style. What do you say? Step on up. Come on, come all. Check it out. Look at our main attraction here in the GOP. It's Trumpy the Clown. Hey, kids, I'm Trumpy the Clown. I'm going to say another dumbass thing this week that's going to embarrass everybody. Yep, that's what happened. Donald Trump, once again, take foot, insert into mouth. Now, I defended Martin O'Malley on the last segment, and now Trumpy the Clown has me defending John Flipping McCain. That's right. And see, Trumpy the Clown hasn't figured out a way to talk yet without sounding like a complete moron after the fact. And so I did this for him 2 weeks ago, and I figured I'd do it for him again, just to help him out. And here's how it goes. When asked about John McCain, Donald, here's how you do it. John McCain actually has really upset me recently. 15,000 people showed up in Phoenix, Arizona, his home state, to support me, and he called them a bunch of crazies. I don't recall ever seeing that kind of support when you were running as a candidate in 2008, John, or when you've been running for re-election year after year after year and failing the people of your state who clearly want to hear what I have to say, John. But you could say they're crazy all you want to. I met some incredibly good people, and I respect you, John. I even supported you at one point in 2008 and raised almost $1 million for you, John. But you know what? Your time has passed. You are out of touch with what the people in Phoenix were saying, and you're out of touch with the American people. You're not a conservative like I am, even though Donald Trump isn't, and it is up to me to be able to expose you for the fraud you are, John, in the way that you do not stand for conservative principles when you say you do. You've been wrong about so many things. You are a war hero who defended our country, and I gotta respect you for what you've done, but what have you done to help the veterans? I've done more to talk about the VA and the absolute atrocities and what I'm going to do as president. Where are you, John? How often have you been beating the drum on, I'm really upset and outraged, friends, about this, but what have you done, John? Nothing. I'm going to do something about it. Now, that's not only controversial, Trumpy the Clown, that actually sounds kind of good. You could have said that, but instead, you said this.
Frank, let me get to it. He hit me. He's not a war hero. He's a war hero. He's a war hero. 5.5 years. He's a war hero because he was captured. I like people that weren't captured, okay? I hate to tell you. Do you agree with that? He's a war hero because he was captured, okay? You can have, and I believe perhaps he's a war hero, but right now he said some very bad things about a lot of people.
Trumpy, you can't say that stuff, and it's just simply not true. Look, I think John McCain sucks, but he is a war hero. Because anybody who's given the option to leave the Hanoi Hilton years before the rest of his crew leaves and decides to stay back because it would only make things worse for his men, kind of sort of a hero. Kind of like Marcus Luttrell's a hero too. Now, say what you want about John McCain, and I do all the time. That's a low blow and uncalled for, and it makes you once again look like a sideshow clown that you already are. Trumpy. Ooh, and I got an idea for the next week or so. Here's what we'll do. Hey, we're the mainstream media, and hey, what did Rand Paul, Donald Trump, and Scott Walker have to say about the comments said about John McCain by Donald Trump? What do you have to say, Scott Walker? Trumpy. Thanks, buddy. You depend on me to give you the truth, and I'm going to give you the truth whether you can handle it or not. And this is predictable because it happens every time there's any level of success with the United States kickball team. And by kickball, I mean soccer. Because here's the headline. Girls soccer on the rise due to USA World Cup victory. Wrong. Try again, dumbass. It never happens ever here in America. They always try to push this. There's always some article. The people are really excited about the Women's World Cup victory. No one cares. I'm sorry, no one cares. I know it was cute. I know it was put on Twitter. I know like 8 people watched it. That's all well and good. Look, no one likes soccer here in the United States anyway. Okay, you take that, plus you make it a woman's sport, and look, I'm just going to be honest with you, no one cares about women's sports here in America, like it or not. So you combine sport no one cares about in America, plus women playing the sport, equals double whammy, and equals double bad, and equals double no one gives a crap. Unless you're Ronda Rousey, no one cares what you're doing when it comes to women athletics here in America. Sorry, it's just the truth. The food police, they get inside of our head, and they get inside our head every single time or every single year. There's some superfood that everyone has to love and embrace and think is the best thing on the planet. And so I read this headline with a laugh. People are getting seriously sick from eating kale. That's right. Kale's heralded with ample supplies of calcium, magnesium, potassium, vitamin K, and antioxidants. But the superfood is hiding a nasty secret. Dangerous levels of heavy metals. Now, I'm a heavy metal guy, just not when it comes to the food I eat. Just throwing that out there. There's a lady who was 52 years old who died because the level of thallium in her blood was 0.7 parts per milligram, 7 times higher than the threshold limit. Why? Because she consumed kale on a daily basis, and the more and more studies are being done that this thallium is tasteless, odorless, nearly colorless, but it has a little bit of a dirt taste. Well, so does kale. So how the hell would you know? Shows you right for eating a shrub instead of eating real food. I don't care if it's healthy or not. The food police will move on to something else, and we'll find out that kale kills you, and it at least kills your taste buds, because anybody who's living or breathing and has any sense of taste know that this stuff sucks. Speaking of sucks, it's time for this week's Ass Hat of the Week.
It is time for this week's Ass Hat of the Week.
This week's Asset of the Week comes to us from Seattle, Washington. And, you know, Seattle's had its fair share of challenges recently. If you look at, like, the minimum wage increase is really having some smaller businesses really look at closing very soon within the next year or so, because they know they're never going to be able to meet the demands without raising prices to an insane amount and losing their business that way. But there's other challenges Seattle really has, and the Asset of the Week's taking it on, and here's what he's doing. See, there's a huge shortage among Muslim home ownership in the city of Seattle, and getting an interest-based loan is against Sharia law. And so CARE, the Council of American Islamic Relations, is trying to work with the city to see if there's ways that banks can offer Sharia law compliant loans, i.e. loans with no interest rate whatsoever. And what a sweet deal that is. Now, if only I disliked homosexuals and didn't want women to actually have any freedom whatsoever and felt like stoning people to death, I may take up this whole Sharia-compliant law thing, because, well, you know, getting an interest-free house loan would be pretty sweet. Hey, Ass Hat of the Week, Mayor of Seattle, Ed Murray, here's a little bit of an idea. There's way more other things that may help your city grow, such as minimizing the out-of-control spending and minimizing the minimum wage demanded increases by the legislature there. And let's take on those things and worry a little bit less about Sharia-compliant interest-free loans. What do you say? Ed Murray, you are without a doubt this week's Ass Hat of the Week.
Tune in next week for another exciting installment of Ass Hat of the Week.
That's going to put the finishing touches on this week's episode of According to Me. Thank you so much for being here and listening to the show. Hopefully you were informed, entertained, possibly offended. Because if so, job well done. We'll be back next week, faster than you could say furious, with another episode of According to Me. Thank you so much for listening. Good night, America.
the leader in talk radio on the internet, right here on K98Talk.com.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-513-6154. That's 1-800-513-6154. Again, 1-800-513-6154. Call now.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.